a competitive edge in the sense that, these days we have companies that produce very similar products. So it's actually customer service that is the cutting edge. I'd also like to add that despite the advent of artificial intelligence, automation, customer service is still critical to have a successful business. Customer service delivery is an essential part of the overall customer service strategy of an organization. It involves every aspect of the customer's experience. That is how you perceive the customer. So it is the process of providing assistance and support before, during, or after the purchase of a company's products. In practice, it could actually be below customers' expectation. It could meet customers' expectations. It could surpass it. But the key thing is that everybody, every member of the organization is part of the customer service delivery process. Every point of contact is very important because it adds up. It is on the basis of that the customer does an overall assessment about the organization. So the importance of customer service needs not be overemphasized, and the delivery. So the delivery is actually the how. It's one thing to articulate policies, but it's another thing to be able to carry them out effectively. We can actually look at customer service in terms of the customer, the service, and delivery. When we talk of the customer, we talk of the external and the internal customer. The external customer buys from us. We make money through sales from the customer. The external customer provides service. So both types of customers are important for the growth of the business. When a customer approaches you for service, he has expectations, and these expectations are based on your brand, your image, your promises through advertising. And when this service is delivered, the customer appraises his expectation alongside your actual service delivery. And this comparison brings about the customer's experience. Looking at the state of customer service delivery in Nigeria, if we look at a research done by the Institute of Customer Service of Nigeria in 2020, the research showed that 14% of customers ranked service delivery in the country as excellent, while 57% rated it poor. And the major issues highlighted were long waiting time, customers are delayed unduly, poor communication, customers are not told what to expect, they are not given feedback on developments. There's also the issue of lack of personalization. You have this attitude of one size fits all. There's also inadequate resolution of complaints. You also have the issue of lack of employee training, which shows in the attitude of employees. These issues apparently are symptoms. Looking at the reasons for poor customer service delivery, we find that part of the causes of poor customer service delivery emanates from poor management. Management pays lip service to customer-centric culture. They say one thing and they do another. They say the customer is the king, the customer is the reason for the business, but their actions don't match it. Another reason is lack of knowledge about the organization's customer service policies. Some people don't even know what the vision of their company is all about, so they do their own thing. You also have the issue of poor employee relations. When employees are treated badly, they tend to take it out on the customer. When employees are not properly trained, they behave anyhow. So poor training of employees is also one of the reasons why we have poor customer service delivery in the country. We also have the issue of poor staffing. You have round pegs and square holes, people who are not skill to handle certain positions are put there based on emotional reasons, maybe because they're related to management and so on. You also have the issue of quality assurance. A lot of companies do not carry out surveys to find out what the customers need. And for some of them that do, they don't utilize these findings to make a change in their business. You also have the issue of not handling complaints adequately. So we ask, when does customer service become excellent? Customer service becomes excellent when customers' expectations are exceeded by providing service that is friendly, is effective. Customer ends up being very delighted. It involves anticipating and proactively providing solutions to meet customers' needs. So in essence, it entails understanding customers' needs, communicating effectively, managing difficult situations, building relationships, and then promoting ethics and professionalism in customer service. So we need to ask, why do we need to understand customers' needs? A need is something required to have a feeling of satisfaction. And you find that when we are able to understand customers' needs, we're able to render personalized service, leading to customer delight. And you know that when the customer is delighted, we have loyalty from the customer, and then we tend to have retention in terms of customers. It also helps the organization, to identify new opportunities for innovation. If you're able to understand what a customer needs, you're able to think up of solutions to help to handle the customer's needs. It also helps to improve the product. Several years ago, the kind of cars we drive these days, it didn't used to have facilities for disabled people. But now, one day somebody thought about it and designed a car that could facilitate movement for disabled people. So this is what it's all about. If you are able to identify the needs of the customer, you'll be able to come up with improved products. There are techniques for identifying and anticipating customers' needs. And one of them is customer feedback. When you carry out survey, you send out questionnaires, you're able to get input from the customers, you know what they need, you know what their concerns are. And based on that, you're able to, you're able to produce products and offer services that meet their needs. Data analysis is another technique for identifying and anticipating customers' needs. Based on the data you have, the demographics, the customer's pattern of behavior, you can actually draw a persona of the kind of customers you have, and this will help you to be able to serve them better. Customer reviews come in handy. With customer reviews, customers give their honest opinion, and you can use that to improve your service. We also have market research. With market research, you can find out what other organizations are doing, and you'll be able to better improve your product. Granted that customers have peculiar needs, but there are some needs that are basic to all customers. Customers like you to be friendly to them. They like you to be warm. Customers will want you to empathize. You need to show that you know what they are going through. They also want you to be fair, to give them due attention, to give them answers, not to manipulate them. Customers also want to be part of the process. They want to feel that you want to know their opinion. They want to feel that you want to get them involved in producing, involved in the kind of services you offer to them. Customers also want information. So when you do that for the customer is excited. the customer feels valued. Think of those shops that you like to buy things from. Normally, you buy from your friend. You go to those shops where they welcome you, where they show that they understand what you need, what you're going through, where they are open, where they are fair, they don't manipulate you, where you feel that you're part of the decision-making process and when you're provided with information. There are two companies that have shown themselves to have a deep understanding of how to handle customers' needs and how to utilize it to meet customers' expectations. You have the Zappos. Zappos is an online retailer known for its exceptional customer service. One of the key ways Zappos understands customer needs is by providing a round-the-clock customer service hotline. Customers can call at any time to get help with their orders, and Zappos customer service representatives are trained to go above and beyond to meet their needs. Zappos also offers free shipping and returns, making it easy for customers to try out products and return them if not satisfied. We also have the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. It's a luxury chain known for its exceptional customer service. Ritz-Carlton understands that customers' needs are very, very key to be attended to. Its employees are trained to anticipate and exceed customers' expectations. For example, Ritz-Carlton's employees are encouraged to use customers' names, remember their names, such as their favorite type of pillow and beverage. This attention to details helps Ritz-Carlton to create a very personalized and memorable experience for each guest, which leads to high-level customer satisfaction and loyalty. Now we're going to look at communicating. Humans are social beings, so we tend to interact and communicate with one another. Communication flow in its simple form involves the sender thinking up of what he wants to say and encoding it into words. He sends it out as a message through a channel. And when the receiver gets the message, he decodes it and tries to make a meaning out of it. In the process of communication, sometimes some barriers, some interferences come in that prevents the sender from decoding the message, decoding it, getting the exact purport of the message that the sender sent. Such situations lead to dissatisfaction on the part of the receiver and frustration on the part of the sender. So businesses in communicating with their customers have to take cognizance of this. Nobody wants to have dissatisfied customers. We know the consequences of having dissatisfied customers. So businesses have to try in their communication to make sure that they communicate effectively. In order to achieve this, businesses should adopt a warm and assertive mode of communication. You should not be passive or aggressive, manipulative. You should, as much as possible, try to be clear and concise in your messages. There's no need for using verbose. There's no need for using words that are difficult to understand. Avoid using jargons and stay on the topic. When you don't stay on the topic, you get customers confused and they are not able to flow with the information you're giving. There's also need to adapt communication styles to suit the different customers. You need to read the customer, you need to read nonverbal cues. You need to ask the customer how they want to communicate. And then you need to adapt your language and your tone. I mean, if you talk to an adult like a child, it will be patronizing. So when you're communicating with your customer, you have to adapt your language and your tone. You also have to be an active listener. Customers like to know that they have your ears. and you encourage the customer to talk. When you encourage the customer to talk, he gets to tell you a lot of things that he normally would not. You also try to clarify what the customer is saying. Sometimes you call the helpline, for instance, you say you have problems with your internet connections, you call a service provider, and you say, I have a challenge with my internet connection, and I want to know why. Normally, the person at the customer service desk will say something like, good evening, Mrs. Eziokwu, thank you for calling up. If I get you right, you said you have a problem with your internet connection and you want to know why. That is a way of clarifying, what I just said, to make sure that you're on the same page with the customer. Paraphrasing is also another way of, clarifying what the customer is saying. When you summarize what the customer has said, you're able to make sure that you have not missed out any points the customer or any issues the customer has raised. There are some barriers, I had mentioned earlier about barriers that prevent the receiver from decoding the information, like the customer sent it. Some of these barriers are distractions from the environment. It could be noise, it could be a television set on. Biases and prejudices can also affect the communication process. If you're already biased about a speaker, don't listen to what he says. Also, lack of empathy. If you're speaking to somebody and he feels that you don't value him, you're looking down on him, it creates a break in communication. And the customer may be hearing you, but not be listening. You also have defensiveness. Once you're critical of the person, he becomes defensive and he doesn't listen. Interrupting a speaker also causes barrier in communication. Sometimes I pinch myself. Sometimes you may be very eager to communicate and you find yourself interrupting a speaker. That affects effective communication. When a person is not engaged, doesn't really listen to you. So in communication, you have to try to engage the person you're speaking with. When you engage the person, he listens and he understands what you're talking about. Language barriers also can be a source of a break in transmission, break in communication. When you don't understand one another, it's not so easy to communicate. Physical barriers such as health challenges, such as hearing impairment can also affect effective communication. So why is effective communication important in customer service delivery? It helps to build trust. When a customer trusts you, he can rely on you for so many things. It also helps in resolving issues. When you're able to communicate well, you understand what the problem is and you'll be able to solve. When you're able to solve the customer's problem, sorry, there's increase in loyalty. Customer is loyal to you, he trusts you. It also enhances customer experience. When you're able to communicate well, customer is relaxed, customer understands what you're talking about. Also, in terms of communication, there are two companies that stand out. You have Apple and then you have Disney. Apple is known for its exceptional customer service, which is largely due to effective communication strategy. Apple employees are trained to use clear and concise messages, and they adapt their communication styles to meet customers' unique needs. Apple employees tend to use active listening techniques to ensure that they fully understand the customer's needs and concerns. Another company is Disney. Disney is another company known for its exceptional customer service. Disney employees are trained to use friendly and welcoming communication style to make customers feel valued and appreciated. They also use active listening techniques to ensure that they fully understand customers' needs and concerns. Another aspect of ensuring excellent customer service delivery is in managing difficult situations. Though it can be challenges for businesses, it forms an essential part of excellent customer service delivery. It could be in form of customer complaints. Customer is complaining about poor service delivery, rude staff, late orders. It could be in form of customer conflicts. Customer may decide to sue the organization or threatening to run down the organization. It could also be handling a difficult customer who refuses to see reason. Whatever form it takes, it's very important that a business tries its best to address these issues and handle it properly, because it provides an opportunity for stronger and lasting relationships. So here are some guideposts in handling difficult situations. We should realize that the customer is not a distraction. He's the reason for the business. So you don't have to be aggressive or irritated. You don't argue. You try to de-escalate the situation when the customer is agitated. You see the challenging situation as an opportunity to build better and stronger relationships. I'll give you an instance. I have an outlet in Port Harcourt where I sell agricultural produce. I bring from the north. I take it down south. I also have suppliers from the south. So one of these days, one of my suppliers who supplies egg to us supplied several crates of eggs, and our neighbor across the road came and picked a crate. And after 2 days, she called my staff and said that 5 of the eggs were broken. My staff was taken aback because, according to her, she inspected every egg before releasing the item to her. And she was surprised that she didn't get back to her until after 2 days, and her shop was right across the road. After thinking for a while, I told her, take 5 eggs and return it to her. Tell her that we are sorry for any inconveniences, that we value her relationship, and that we will be replacing the eggs. And when my staff said that to her, she was quiet for a minute. And then she said, I thought you were going to say I'm lying. And my staff said, no, we know you can't be lying. We are sorry for all the inconvenience and we are replacing your egg. And she was very excited. She called her husband. They were so excited. And I tell you, they are one of our loyal customers. They buy from us every day. So this is an instance where we used a challenging situation to create an opportunity for better and stronger relationships. Another guidepost for handling difficult situations is listening actively, fully engage the customer. Pay attention, because it is when you listen that you understand the customer's problems. Another is to take ownership. A lot of times in some organizations, when a customer comes to report a fault, some of the staff begin by saying, no, it's not my fault. It's this person from the other department. She doesn't know what she's doing. But to the customer sees everybody as part of the organization. So the proper thing is to do is to focus on the customer's problem and start and solve the problem instead of laying blame. Another guidepost is to apologize and empathize. Always apologize to the customer for any inconvenience. It's not a competition. Sometimes the customer is not right, but you don't have to throw it in their face. They have to live with their dignity. So you apologize and then show them that you understand, and then try to tell them what the situation on ground is. Try to explain to them why they can't have it in a certain way. You also need to thank the customer for communicating their problems. Sometimes some customer will not tell you. They will just leave and try to tell others to join them. We should also take action to solve the problem in a timely and effective manner. Discuss the options with the customer and tell them what you can do. Do not promise what you cannot do, and continue to follow up to show commitment. So we have companies like Amazon and Southwest Airlines that have distinguished themselves in being able to manage customer challenges. We are going to be looking at building stronger relationships. In building stronger relationships, you need to understand the importance of having those relationships. The staff of your organization also needs to understand the importance of having those relationships. If you know what you stand to gain by having good relationships with the customer, and you'll be motivated to cultivate those relationships. When you are close to the customer is delighted, it leads to loyalty, you retain your customers, repeat purchases, they market for you, they tell others about your business, you have increased sales. And the consequences are on the other side. If you don't have a strong relationship with your sorry, I was talking about. If you don't have a strong relationship with your customers leave you easily. They don't have any commitment towards you. When they have an issue, when you have an issue, they don't, they just leave. They don't listen to what you have to say. They don't stand by you. So customers, it's something that we must pay strong attention to. If you don't pay attention to the consequences, then there's a tendency to be very lax about maintaining strong customer relationships. You need to show the customer that you care. Are there some milestones in the life of your customers? Then you should engage with the customer. When they have something to celebrate, you should celebrate with them. You would need to remember their birthdays. You would need to send them greetings on special days. You need to show them that they are valued. And when you do that, customers are bonded to you. You also need to effectively follow up. When a customer buys a product from you, buys a new product for the first time, or when a customer buys a product that he doesn't really know much about, you would need to follow up to find out how he's faring. You need to follow up to find out whether he's enjoying the product. This way, you're able to bond closer to the customer. Collecting feedbacks and using it. We mentioned earlier when we were talking about the complaints, the issues raised by customers concerning poor customer service delivery, that the companies do not, use the feedback they receive to create a greater experience for customers. So it's very, very important to utilize feedbacks to improve customer service. Finally, ethics and professionalism is very important in the delivery of excellent customer service. In dealing with your customers, you don't have to be deceptive or relate with them in an ethical manner. You don't have to try to cheat them. If a customer comes to you and wants to buy a certain product and you know that it's not what is best for him, even if you know you're going to make money, it would be ethical to advise him to buy the product that suits him. Another issue is professionalism. You should be professional when you're dealing with customers. we talked about being friendly with the customer, but there's something called personal space. So in being friendly with the customer, in relating with the customer, you also have to recognize that the customer needs to have the space. So you need to be professional, you need to dress well, you need to use the right language, you need to maintain a positive attitude, you need to be respectful. And when you do that, it endears the customer to you. Also, when there are issues that pertain to conflict and interest, you have to stand your ground. You don't have to, because you are under pressure as a staff, do things that are unethical. We also have to look at handling confidential issues. When a customer confides in you, you keep his secret. You don't share confidential issues, matters, except the customer asks you to do that. So you have to, know, the customer has to know that you would not divulge information they give to you. Going back to conflict of interest, sometimes some organizations use insider information to compete against the customer. It's totally wrong. If you want to maintain excellent customer service, you must ensure that you don't do things that are unethical and you don't compete with the customer in their own talk. So basically, we can go on and on to talk about the benefits of excellent customer service. It's innumerable. It sets the customer apart. It gives the customer superior experience. And at the end of the day, the customer speaks to you. In essence, as small businesses, in our own small way, we should pay attention to excellent customer service delivery. It starts from the first point of contact, your security man, the salesperson, anybody that comes in contact with the customer is part of the customer service delivery process. And if you want to stand out as an organization, you must pay attention to the level of customer service you give to the customer. So if we do not treat our customers right, they will go elsewhere. And like we say, the customer is the boss. He can fire all of us by going elsewhere to spend his money. So thank you so much for listening. And I hope you picked something from this. I hope we'll go on to utilize what we have learned to make a difference in our businesses. Thank you.
That was an interesting one. Want to really appreciate you for taking the time and sharing these awesome nuggets with us. Please, I would like to open up the room for questions and answers. If you have any questions, kindly send a message or ask directly so that she can attend to them. Questions can be relating to the course or related to the courses, or a practical question that has to do with your business, that has to do with customer service. Thank you. Does anyone have question?
Hello, yes, I did, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my question is that most founders or startups these days battle to understand the difference between experience they provided their users as well as the customer service. So on the business model canvas, I want to understand, is it a channel that is what customer service means, or is entirely different thing? Thank you.
I think the question you are asking is
I
based on
didn't
a
quite-
business model.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that question. Can you take it again?
Okay, the question is, most startups, let me say application startups like mobile or web applications or mobile applications. In most cases, they deal with users virtually. So what I want to understand is there any difference between the experience they provided their users as well as the support they provided their users? That is on the business model canvas. There is a section where a founder or a startup detail their channel or their way of communication with the user. So there is quite issue relate understanding the user experience as well as the customer service provision by the startup or company. Thank you.
Okay, customer service is actually the activity that an organization engages in trying to satisfy the customer. Like I mentioned earlier, when a customer approaches you for a service, he comes to you with expectations. There are certain things he or she expects from you based on your offerings, based on brand image, your marketing. Now, when you render that service to the customer, he compares his expectations concerning your service with what he actually receives. And it is that comparison that defines the experience. So with that experience, you could have met his expectations. You know, you may not have met his expectations. So that is where experience comes in. It is when the customer compares his expectations with the actual service he got. It is that comparison that results in the experience. So he could have a positive experience. It could be that you didn't meet up to his expectation. I don't know if I've answered your question.
I also think he needs to clarify his questions. I'm finding it really difficult to tell exactly what the question is. However, I heard him mention something about the business model canvas. So I thought he was asking where customer service fell under the business model canvas. But again, when he started talking, I wasn't sure if that is the question. So I would
He
say
can actually send it on the platform.
I think she has answered some of the concern, even though you raised the concern about on the business model canvas, which part satisfy the customer service, because for startups, what they mostly use as their business plan or their way of like a Bible is the model canvas. So by understanding which aspect of the model canvas satisfy customer care is actually a point of concern for startups. That is why I'm asking.
I'm going to address that briefly. In the 9 building blocks of the business model canvas, there's a part that talks about customer relationships. So we have customer segments, we have value propositions, we have channels, we have customer relationships, we have revenue streams, we have key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and cost structure. Those are the core parts of the business model in most parts of the world. So when you talk about customer relationships, that talks about customer service, if that is what you're asking. So customer service is usually a core part of it. Now, technology companies also are very, very keen on customer service. And you know this because majority of them provide 24/7 customer care service, either through mail or through live chats. That is customer service. Also, some of them have a way of compensating in the case of a disappointment or a glitch or a failure. I remember when Facebook gave me what they call that? It's more like a bonus. Like they will give you the stuff, you key it into your advert, and you receive like free money to do advert because something about the current ad I didn't just work out fine, and it was as a result of a glitch on their own system, and so they compensated me. It's a tech company, but the customer service is great. Facebook, in a typical month, I speak with them for like 3 or 4 times, and they have to be the ones to call me whenever I have issues or challenges. They have to follow up. They have to make sure I'm fine. And they usually also ask me for some sort of feedback. And I don't know if you noticed, but if you start advertising on Facebook and you spend a particular amount of money or range of money, they would start suggesting to you if you would like to speak with a professional or a specialist, an advert specialist. So what a person does is to now advise you further on how you can maximize your ad income, your ad revenue or your ad budgets. So that also is customer service. They don't just dump you, they don't just leave you, they try to follow up with you. Now, if you bring it to Nigeria, you see that most Nigerian techs, they have very, very poor customer service. Very, very poor customer service. They could barely reply their emails, could barely respond to live chat. They are so terrible, and many of them are not 24/7 sort of services. There are a few that are trying anyways. So if anybody is able to bridge that gap, they will be able to relate with their customers more. So if the question is where is it on the business model canvas, then I'll suggest you review your business model canvas. There should be a segment that talks about customer relationships. That is, how do you relate with customers? How do you interact with customers? How do you reach out, and how do they reach out to you if there are challenges? Thank you.
Thank you for the clarity. Thank you, sir.
So somebody said, I didn't participate in the business model canvas. Well, we didn't particularly do any lecture on business model canvas in this particular program. There was a time we did it in one of our events, our business events. So I would suggest you read it up on your own and maybe see what's up there. If you have other questions, please go ahead and ask our speaker. Does anyone have any other question?
If I ask a question, I don't know if it's been answered already.
Please go ahead and ask your question. Hello, did you say you have a question?
I said Divine asked a question on the chat. I don't know if it's been answered already.
Okay, Divine asked on the chat. Okay, lecture. I was wondering what of situations where the customer is clearly wrong. Okay, the speaker will answer this one. But what of situations where the customer is clearly wrong?
Can somebody unmute?
Wow, question Come on to that. Come on, follow that side.
I'm trying to. I'm not using my. Please,
the laptop. I think I 1 million I am a two level. Oh.
I can't seem to be able to do that with my phone.
You know, I want to come for the 2 days jump pass. My son, Kaduna Road. What am I saying? 100 naira. Oh my God! Buy Grego. Buy Amazon. Then I may sell the show for how much? 150. 150.
Please, if you are still connected, you can help to mute Nancy so that we can take the question.